6 nations, 6 years. Gods have fallen, nations have burned, and it's all about to reach the climax. Hello everyone! Welcome to PST Channel, Game Story, Movie Style, for your busy days. Today is the big one. The entire Genshin Impact main story, from the very beginning to right now, all in a nutshell. A quick, funny recap to get you ready for 7.0. You wake up on a beach and fish out Paimon. The game calls her a guide. The community calls her emergency food. She is basically a floating GPS that speaks for you, so the devs didn't have to pay a voice actor for the protagonist. She leads you to Mondstadt, the city of freedom, but we barely take 5 steps inside the city gates before Storm Terror, a giant blue dragon, attacks. The Knights of Favonius are too busy with paperwork, so they ask the homeless traveler who just arrived 5 minutes ago to save the city. We team up with Venti, a suspicious bard who tells us to steal a holy lyre from a church to calm the dragon down. We fail the stealth mission immediately because the guards actually have eyes, but Diluc, Teyvat Batman, bails us out. With Diluc's money and muscle, we raid a secret hideout, steal the lyre back from the bad guys, and head to the final boss. We shoot the dragon with wind pew-pews, purify his corruption, and save the day. It seems like a happy ending, and Venti finally reveals his secret. He is actually Barbados, the Animo Archon. The alcoholic bard was the regional server admin the whole time. But then, La Signora shows up. She walks to Venti, kicks the god in the ribs, and literally rips the Gnosis right out of his chest. This is the moment the game tells you the tutorial is over. We travel to Liyue, the nation of contracts and money, to ask the Geo-god for help in finding our sibling. But the moment we arrive, a giant dragon corpse falls from the sky. The god is dead, and since we are the only foreigner there, we are the prime suspect. We are saved by Tartaglia, Child. He's a Fatui Harbinger, the bad guy gang, but he is also our bank account, so we tolerate him. He introduces us to Zhang Li, a consultant who has a voice like expensive wine, but zero money in his pockets. We spend the entire chapter planning a funeral for the dead god. We buy rocks, kites, and perfumes, and Child pays for everything. We are basically spending the villain's money to bury our own prime suspect. Eventually, Child realizes that the Gnosis isn't in the corpse. He gets mad, transforms into a Power Ranger, and summons an ancient sea god to nuke the city. Ningguang, the rich lady, responds with the ultimate pay-to-win move. She drops her entire floating palace, worth billions of mora, straight onto the monster's head. The monster is defeated by capitalism. In the end, Zhang Li reveals he is the Geo-god. The dragon corpse was just a prop he 3D printed because he wanted to retire.
I thought you were dead.
My death was greatly exaggerated.
He hands over his Gnosis to the Fatui voluntarily, leaving us with 0 answers and a retired, broke grandpa. Next, we sneak into Inazuma, the land of eternity. The server is region-locked by the Electro God, so we have to smuggle ourselves in like illegal DLC. We meet Ayaka, the Rebellion's VIP. She refuses to help us until we run errands for 3 random NPCs. After we fetch her groceries and watch her dance in wet socks, she finally agrees to start the revolution. We march to the capital to save our friend Thoma. The Raiden Shogun looks at us, pulls a lightning sword out of her chest, the legendary Booba sword, and knocks us out in 1 hit. We barely escape with our lives. We join the resistance, but it's a tragedy. Our friend Tepei uses a delusion weapon to fight, not realizing it drains his life force. He speedruns his entire lifespan in a few days and dies of old age off-screen. This is the moment the traveler stops making jokes. We storm the palace and challenge Signora to a duel. Winner lives, loser gets deleted. We swat the moth and the Raiden Shogun executes her instantly. 1 Harbinger down. We fight the Shogun, again, but here's the massive plot twist. The Raiden Shogun we saw earlier, just a programmable robot. The real god, named A, is hiding inside the robot's mind like a shut-in gamer because she is afraid of system updates. Yaimiko hacks the system with the power of friendship, and we use Talk no Jutsu to convince A to go touch grass. She abolishes the lockdown, but Yaimiko reveals she has already traded the Gnosis to Scaramouche, the emo hat guy, to save our lives. Scoreboard, Fatui 3, Traveler 0. We arrive in Sumeru, the nation of wisdom and way too much dialogue. The people here wear Akasha terminals, which are basically Google Glass headsets connected to the internet. We attend the Sub-Zero's festival, but something is wrong. We wake up, do the festival, sleep. Wake up, festival, sleep. We are stuck in a time loop. Samsara. The sages are using our brains to mine crypto. I mean knowledge. To break the loop, Nilu performs a dance so illegal, it crashes the server. We wake up and team up with El Haytham, the feeble scholar with huge muscles, and Sino, the joke police, to overthrow the government. We storm the academy and find Scaramouche again. The sages have turned him into a literal god Gundam. He is so strong, like a Dark Souls boss, which is why we fight him inside a simulation 168 times until we memorize his attack patterns. Then, we smash the robot and rip the Gnosis out. But the real virus has already infected Greater Lord Rukadavakia, the previous admin. We enter Irminsul, the hard drive of the world, and Nahida, the current admin, is forced to press Format Drive. History is rewritten. Nobody remembers the previous god ever existed, except us. We saved the world, but the doctor, Dottore, shows up and trades some secret lore for the Gnosis anyway. Scoreboard, Fatui 4, Traveler 0. Welcome to Fontaine, the nation of justice. Here, the laws are written by a drama queen, the judge is a dragon in a human suit, and the penalty for crimes is getting dissolved into human juice. We meet Farina, the Hydro Archon. She talks big, challenges us to a duel, and then immediately backs down when we accept. She is the literal definition of all bark, no bite. We go to the Opera House and immediately turn into Phoenix Wright from Ace Attorney. We defend a magician named Linny, while Neuvillette, the Chief Justice, judges us from the high ground. We prove Linny is innocent, but we also accidentally reveal that he is a Fatui. Then, Child shows up again. The Oratress, the judgment machine, declares him guilty for a crime he didn't commit. The machine is clearly bugged, or it just hates gingers. Neuvillette knocks him out, and Child goes to jail. We get sent to the Forest of Maripide, underwater jail, to investigate. We meet Risley, the Duke, who punches things for a living. We spend weeks working a 9-to-5 job making widgets. We discover that the primordial seawater is leaking. This stuff dissolves people into water, like LCL from Evangelion. The floodgate bursts, and Risley tries to hold it back. Suddenly, Neuvillette shows up and pushes the entire ocean back with his bare hands. He reveals he is the Hydro Dragon Sovereign. He is basically an original admin who is older and stronger than the Archons, but he doesn't have his full admin powers yet because the Archons stole them. Disaster strikes. The water rises. We need to seek help from the real Hydro Archon. Farina refuses to tell us where she is, so we have no choice. We trap her in a trial to force her hand. Our goal is to prove she is a fake god, so the real one has to show up. The Oratress delivers the final verdict. The Hydro Archon is guilty. Sentence, death. But the execution isn't for Farina. We enter Neuvillette's mind and meet the real god, Focalors. She explains the 500-year master plan. She tricked the world by making Farina, her human body, act like a god as a placeholder, fooling everyone into thinking the Archon was safe. Meanwhile, she hid inside the machine to accumulate energy for this exact moment. Focalors drops the execution sword on herself. She commits divine suicide to destroy the Archon authority forever. By dying, she returns the stolen admin privileges to Neuvillette, making him a complete dragon god again. Neuvillette uses his power to defeat the all-devouring narwhal, the root cause of the apocalypse, and patch up the human dissolution bug, saving everyone. The prophecy is fulfilled, the throne is destroyed, the Archon is dead, but the people are safe. Farina retires to eat macaroni and cry.
I'm making fucking mac and cheese, and nobody can stop.
She is the true MVP, tasked with lying to everyone for hundreds of years. However, the Traveler loses. Again. Arlecchino, the knave, shows up to collect the Hydronosis. Neuvillette literally just hands it to her, like, here, take this useless USB stick. I have dragon powers now. Scoreboard, Fatui 5. Traveler, 0.
Well then, Traveler.
Bon voyage!
We finally arrive in Natlan, the nation of war. It is basically James Cameron's Avatar, but with better music. We are on Pandora now. We have floating mountains, glowing lights, and tribes that ride dragons called Sorens. We meet Kachina, a small girl with a geodrill. She enters the pilgrimage, the battle royale, to prove herself. She actually wins, but there's a catch. The winners don't get a trophy. They get drafted into an endless war against the Abyss. Usually, the Pyro Archon Moika, the biker mom, can revive fallen warriors like a respawn point, but this time, the Abyss hacks the server. Kachina is stuck in the Night Kingdom, the recycle bin, and her file is about to be deleted. We refuse to let the cinnamon roll die. We team up with Mualani, Shark Girl, and dive into the recycle bin to drag Kachina back to the desktop. But saving Kachina was just the tutorial. The Abyss launches a full-scale invasion. The sky turns purple, monsters flood the streets, and the respawn beacon is destroyed. If you die now, it is permadeath. It is an Avengers-level threat. We assemble the 6 heroes of Natlan. We have the Shark, the Drill, the Dendro Spider-Man, Kinich, and the Cowboy Elf, Chaska. We hold the line in an epic war sequence, and thanks to the squad, we actually win the fight. But victory has a price. Mawika is about to pull an I am Iron Man move to fulfill her bargain with the dead god and save the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That is when the captain, Capitano, steps in. He isn't just a villain, he is a survivor of a fallen kingdom. He refuses to let her die. He sacrifices himself to the Lord of Night. He rewrites the rules of ley lines and fixes the respawn system forever. He is a villain with standards. We win the war, and, for the first time in history, we actually keep the Gnosis. Fatui failed to get it. Natlan remains the only nation to successfully defend their God Mode item. Scoreboard, Fatui 5. Traveler 1. We finally got a win. The story is looking up. We are ready to march to Snezhnaya and settle the score. Is what I would say if the script followed logic. But nope. The writers decided to drift the plot into a completely new lane called Nodcry. This is the moment Genshin Impact officially rebrands into Song of the Welkin Moon. Next, we are recapping the heavy, confusing lore of the entire Nodcry expansion in a little more detail. We leave Natlan's farewell barbecue party and enter Nodcry, a small, independent region of Snezhnaya where the NPCs don't care about the standard Archons and instead worship the ancient moons. Long ago, there were 3 moons until the Heavenly Principles destroyed the 2. When we arrive at Nasha Town, the Traveler immediately suffers a giant lag spike of a flashback. Looking at the ground, you realize this exact town is your original 500-year spawn point. This is where your spaceship originally crashed before the unknown god hit you with a server mute and locked you into a centuries-long sleep. While searching for the spaceship to get answers about our past, we bump into a mysterious entity called the Lunatar, whose origins are completely unknown. We also cross paths with Lauma, a moon chanter for the Frost Moon Scions. Think of her as a dedicated support class main who happens to have giant antlers, and just that. She tells us about the Moon Marrow, a legendary relic passed down for generations. In gaming terms, this is a highly encrypted backup hard drive containing the true, unredacted history of the world server. The Traveler wants to learn about the spaceship using the relic, but the Fatui bros are already in town trying to steal it for their own twisted moon-related experiments. Our search leads us to a hidden underground cave where we find Colombina, the third Fatui Harbinger. Colombina is actually an ancient frost moon goddess from 500 years ago. Her moon cult followers have become way too demanding for buffs and prayers, causing her mental health to tank. She rage quit her divine job to become a carefree Fatui Harbinger, but she quit that too because Fatui just used her as a battery. She never found the home she was searching for. Since Colombina is out of commission and all shush to us at first, the traveler takes a walk. Out of nowhere, our Abyss sibling, the leader of the game's dark web mafia, the Abyss Order, shows up to help. But the second we reach the relic room, the sibling pulls a toxic gamer move. They betray us, drop out of the party, trap us in a blinding fog, and leave us to get jumped by the wild hunt. These aren't normal mobs. They are heavily corrupted, high-tier abyssal glitch monsters native to Nodcry. Just as we are about to hit a game over screen, Flynn's, an emo graveyard lightkeeper, clutches up and saves us. Flynn's is a 500-year-old lantern fae who clears out the wild hunt for a living. The sibling who betrayed us was actually a shape-shifting imposter. While we're busy feeling guilty about being baited by a fake twin, the Fatui successfully steals the moon marrow. After confessing our sins to the big antler lady Lauma, we launch a high-stakes Metal Gear Solid-style stealth infiltration into the Fatui HQ. Alongside Lauma and an overworked curatorium spy sidekick, Yehoda, we crawl through the ventilation shafts and dodge security lasers to reach the bottom floor. There, we find Lauma's friend, Philomena. She betrayed the moon cult and joined the Fatui Bros because she found out a horrifying truth. The sky above them is fake. It is just a painted skybox covering the server. She could not handle the truth. While escaping, we confront Marionette, the 7th Harbinger, but before a boss fight can even trigger, the server glitches out. The wild hunt swarms the room, controlled by the toxic fake sibling imposter. Marionette looks at the absolute chaotic mess, decides she does not get paid enough to deal with multi-faction drama, hands the moon marrow back to us, and logs off. The traveler immediately does what they do best. They absorb the moon marrow directly into their body like a human USB port. Just when you think it's time to go into chill mode, the game spawns a server-wide threat. Reer, the Avenger of the Moon and absolute kick-ass boss of the Wild Hunt. He begins actively absorbing the map's abyssal energy to reconstruct his physical body. To learn more about this edgy boss, we are forced to do the unthinkable. Actually read books, while being guided by a faint ghost light that absolutely spooks Paimon. To fight back, Nodcry deploys its ultimate defense weapon, the Kavaki Cannon, engineered by a child prodigy named Aino. We fire the massive cannon at Reer.
Oh, call an ambulance! Call an ambulance! But not for me!
Only to realize he tricked us. Because of dominant energy absorption logic, Reer willingly takes the hit to absorb the Kavaki energy and fully reconstruct his body. Reer makes his grand entrance, Snezhnaya joins the fray, and right before they wipe out our party, Colombina teleports in for a last-moment save. Realizing we can't take him alone, we are forced to assemble an absolute dream team to throw hands. Our party includes muscle buff Grandmaster Varka, finally showing up after 5 years of waiting, Dainsleif, making his annual appearance, Arlecchino, Albedo, Durin, and the entire Nodcry cast. To stop Reer, Colombina decides we need the iridescent moon marrow. Arlecchino drops a massive lore bomb right before the raid, revealing she is a direct descendant of the ancient Crimson Moon dynasty. She uses her Crimson Flame to open a portal into a secret dimension, allowing us to pocket the iridescent moon marrow. We now have 2 backup OP moon marrow in our inventory. To learn how to defeat Reer, we consult Nefer, the boss of the Curatorium, who lets us use an overpowered chess set that replays historical memories. We watch Reer's tragic backstory. He was once a royal executioner for Conria, who fell in love with a researcher named the Lindis. During a catastrophic laboratory accident, the Lindis jumped into a Moongate portal. Reer intentionally absorbed the power of the Abyss from the disaster to go in after her, causing his physical form to fracture into the glitchy, wild hunt scattered across Nodcry. Armed with this knowledge, we get ready to battle him. We pull a Nuno reverse card on him, converting his own abyssal power into Kavaki energy. Colombina then opens up a Moongate and permanently yeets him out of the map. With the boss dealt with, the town prepares for the Moon Prayer Night festival. However, the server starts heavily glitching, spawning 500-year-old phantom NPCs and ancient monsters across the overworld, like broken, looping holograms. Colombina plans to use the festival to pass through the fake sky and return to the Frost Moon, her true home. But Alice, Klee's mother and the Hexenzirkel server administrator, logs into the game to diagnose the bug. She drops another bug we need to fix. Colombina is slowly being auto-deleted by the world's source code because she lacks a proper anchor to reality. To stop her file from being erased, we have to update her registry with a true name. It's exactly like binding a guest account so your data doesn't get wiped in the next patch. After listening to the entire lore by Yap Yap Mage Nicole, we officially name her Colombina Hyposelenia, anchoring her identity. We throw her an incredible festival filled with water balloon fights and carnival games. But sadly, the time for her departure arrives. Right as we activate the portal to send her home safely, Dottore launches a region-wide server hack. He hits us with the ultimate crowd control. He freezes time for everyone except the Traveler, steals both moon marrows straight out of her inventory, and forces Colombina to dive blindly into the moon gate just to escape his clutches. Dottore completely rolled our entire squad. With Colombina MIA, Dottore takes the stolen moon marrows back to a high-security bunker to forge a rip-off moon marrow. This custom firmware will give him root access to rewrite the rules of the Heavenly Principles. He captures a Traveler and unironically offers us a partnership in his new lawless sandbox server. Meanwhile, Colombina is trapped inside the moon's reflection, a frozen void dimension where time literally flows backwards. As she walks through the emptiness, she uncovers a massive time loop paradox. She was the mysterious ghost light guiding us all along, tracking the Lunatar checkpoints found in the past. She also finds Reer and Thalindis. They are just a moment apart, yet separated by fate. Speedrunning even deeper into ancient history, she meets the three original Moon Sisters, Arya, Sonnet, and Canon. These legacy admins were locked away in developer prison eons ago by the Dragon King Nibelung. To save the future, they transfer their root admin access, the Trilunar Authority, directly to Colombina, turning her into an incredibly OP Trilune goddess. Knowing she can't escape the prison normally, she dissolves her physical body into Kavaki across Nodcry and leaves her soul behind as a guide and hides the authority in the Frost Moon. Lunatar will be her checkpoint that can anchor her to the past. She programs the exact backup conditions into the code so her friends can reboot her in the future. Back in the present, the Traveler and the team discover this sequence of events using Nefer's OP memory chess set. Snezhnaya immediately gets to work modifying the world formula to resurrect Colombina, but she quickly runs into a RAM shortage. The Wanderer steps up and heroically offers his own Irminsul core to act as a processor for the operation. With the system ready, we march out to confront Dottore. He easily overpowers us before the formula can finish compiling. In a massive act of selflessness, Snezhnaya sacrifices her own body to finalize the code inside Polonia, while Varka, Nicole, and Arlecchino physically pull down the real moon. With her body, soul, and authority finally united, Colombina is fully revived. Dottore's rip-off admin console is completely obliterated, and his experiment is ruined.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
This loathsome world.
After the battle, Colombina takes the Traveler to the real Frost Moon. There, she reveals the ultimate prize we've been searching for since day one, our original spaceship, which was hidden away by an unknown entity. Checking the ship's internal data logs, we learn that the spaceship actually passed over Teyvat long before the twins ever originally arrived. Some peaceful time passes until we receive an urgent letter from Colette in Sumeru. She describes a massive, abnormal dream where the roles of every single person in Sumeru were completely scrambled. Realizing this is a dangerous prophecy, we rush back to Sumeru to find the entire region facing malware. Irminsul, Teyvat's central data repository, is heavily corrupted. We gather at King Deshret's mausoleum with Nahida and the crew, realizing Dottore just pulled the ultimate 4D chess move and rickrolled us from beyond the grave. Even though we unalived him in Nodcry, his soul went into the ley lines and Irminsul. Long ago, the original boomer, Dottore, real name Zandik, died of a normal heart attack. Before clocking out, he split his soul into multiple segments. The clone we fought in Nodcry was the last segment taking his place. However, long before the Nodcry arc even started, he split his own soul in half and stored a backup copy inside the Northland Bank. Following their secret contract, Pantalone took that remaining half, like a cursed USB drive, and plugged it directly into the ley lines. Both halves merged inside the Irminsul, and bam! Dottore became Digital Abomination God, with full admin access to Teyvat's repository. Nahida decides the only way to purge this malware is a massive DDoS attack. We overload Irminsul with the Akasha Terminal 2.0 to force a system-wide hard reboot. To do this, we use OP King Deshret's greatest creation, Aru, to construct a completely blank replacement for Irminsul. Nahida and the Traveler even request the Pyronosis from the Pyro Archon. It's time to take back Sumeru City. The entire OG cast unites as Jet, Rana, Deya, and Candace lead an all-out frontal assault against Fatui soldiers. Wanderer and the Traveler sneak through the back door of the Sanctuary of Surasthana and physically plug themselves into Irminsul's backend. Inside the digital maze, they finally corner Dottore. In a shocking twist, Dottore still completely remembers the Wanderer's incognito history, completely bypassing the fact that Skara wiped himself from Irminsul patches ago. Dottore literally says, "Don't misunderstand me, I'm not here for a fight," right before triggering a massive multi-phase boss fight. Classic villain logic. While the Wanderer keeps him busy in the fight, we successfully link the data transfer between Irminsul and our new Aru backup server. Our co-op support, the Dendro Archon, arrives to assist and shows who's the boss. To permanently delete Dottore, Nahida executes a flawless 5D chess move. She channels Malwika's borrowed Pyronosis and straight up burns the corrupted Irminsul tree to absolute ashes. The corrupted repository is wiped from existence, taking the mad scientist and his new world order with it. Sumeru is saved, the city restoration process begins, and we live to see another day beneath the fall sky. So, what all happened in Nodcry? Here's a TLDR. Teyvat has a Trilune goddess after thousands of years, the real frost moon is inside the fall sky, people can see the moon, Traveler found their spaceship, Irminsul is reduced to ashes, Aru is the new replacement, Pyronosis, missing, Heavenly Principles, still dozing, fate has become more loose now. A lot of world-changing events occurred during Nodcry, but what does it lead to? To learn that, we need to see how the upcoming story goes in Snezhnaya, which is right around the corner. I hope you enjoyed the recap and are all set for Snezhnaya. If you like this video and want to support my channel, that means a lot. I made this channel for fans who love game stories but don't have time to play. On PST, you can enjoy them like a movie. If that's you, let me know in the comments. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.